The festive season is usually a time for celebration, for rice and chicken, and for family gatherings. But for the insurgents hiding deep within the thick vegetation of the Sambisa Forest, this holiday period might just be their last. The news coming out of the defense circles is not just hot, it is scorching. If you thought the recent explosions and precision airstrikes in Sokoto State were the end of the story, you need to think again. It appears that was just the dress rehearsal. The United States military, under the directive of President Donald Trump, has reportedly shifted its gaze from the bandit-ridden northwest to the terror capital of the northeast. We are talking about Sambisa Forest in Borno State, the spiritual home of Boko Haram and the current stronghold of ISWAP. The headlines screaming across the internet right now suggest that after striking Sokoto, the USA has begun intensive intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance missions over Sambisa to prepare for a massive bombardment campaign. People are calling it Trump's New Year present to the terrorists, and frankly, it is a gift that no one in that forest wants to receive. We have to understand the magnitude of what is happening here. For over a decade, Sambisa Forest has been a mythical fortress. The Nigerian military has cleared it several times, claiming technical defeat, only for the terrorists to regroup, dig new bunkers, and return. It has been a cat-and-mouse game that has cost billions of naira and thousands of lives. But the entry of the US military into the specific theater of war changes the geometry of the conflict completely. We saw what happened in Sokoto just a few days ago. It wasn't a long, drawn-out battle with ground troops marching into ambushes. It was swift, it was precise, and it came from the sky. The reports indicate that the US is using advanced drone technology, likely the MQ-9 Reapers, to map out the heat signatures of terrorist camps in Sambisa. They aren't just looking for people, they are looking for the leadership, they are looking for the stockpiles, and once the surveillance phase is done, the bombing phase begins. This is why the timeline is so significant. With the new year just around the corner, analysts are speculating that the order has been given to start 2026 with a clean slate, or rather, a flattened forest. Now, before we go deeper into the strategy and what this means for our sovereignty, I need to ask you a question. Do you think bringing in the American Air Force to bomb Sambisa is the final solution we have been waiting for, or are you worried about the collateral damage that might come with foreign airstrikes? It's a tough question, and I want to see your honest thoughts in the comment section because this is our country, and these decisions affect us all. And while you are down there typing your opinion, please do me a massive favor and click that like button. It really helps the algorithm push this important update to more Nigerians who need to know what is coming. And if you are new here, or if you have been watching and haven't joined the family yet, please smash that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. We are tracking these movements every single day, and you don't want to be the last to know when the New Year present finally drops. Now let's look at the Trump factor in this equation. Since his return to the White House, the rhetoric has shifted from diplomatic support to active elimination. The headline calling it a New Year present is sarcastic, but it holds a grain of truth. Donald Trump has never been a fan of long, protracted wars. His style is shock and awe. The strike in Sokoto was a message to the bandits, we can see you. The move to Sambisa is a message to ISWAP, we are coming for you. The difference here is the terrain and the enemy. The bandits in Sokoto are mobile, riding motorcycles and hiding in scattered camps. The terrorists in Sambisa are dug in. They have underground tunnels, they have established bases, and they have anti-aircraft guns. This is why the intelligence and surveillance phase is so critical. You cannot just drop a bomb on a forest that is 60,000 square kilometers without knowing exactly what you're hitting. The US surveillance planes are reportedly scanning for these underground networks. They are listening to communications. They are tracking the movement of supply trucks. It's a level of eyes in the sky that our gallant Nigerian Air Force has struggled to maintain 24/7 due to cost and maintenance issues. But here is where it gets complicated. The shift to Borno signals that the agreement between President Tinubu and President Trump is total. It is not limited to one region. There were fears, especially voiced by people like Sheikh Gumi, that the US intervention would be biased or targeted at specific ethnic groups in the northwest. By moving to the northeast to target Boko Haram and ISWAP, the narrative changes. It becomes a total war on terror. However, the risks are higher in Borno. Sambisa is not empty. There are captives there. There are women and children who have been abducted and are being held as human shields. If the US decides to rain hellfire on these camps as a New Year present, what happens to the innocent? This is the nightmare scenario that human rights groups are already whispering about. Intelligence has to be perfect. If a US bomb hits a camp full of Chibok girls or other abductees, the public opinion victory will turn into a diplomatic disaster overnight. This is likely why the surveillance phase is taking time. They need to be 100% sure that the heat signature they are targeting is a terrorist commander or not a group of hostages. The reaction from the terrorist camps, according to leaked intelligence, is panic. You have to remember that these guys are used to fighting the Nigerian army. They know the sound of an Alpha jet. They know how long it takes for reinforcements to arrive. But they do not know how to fight a drone that flies silently at 50,000 feet and fires a missile that you don't hear until it explodes. The psychological warfare is already working. Intercepted chatter suggests that commanders are abandoning their usual camps, moving constantly and afraid to use their radios. The fear of the unknown is disrupting their operations before the first bomb lands in Sambisa, and this disruption is exactly what the Nigerian army needs. While the Americans watch from above, our ground troops can advance with more confidence, knowing that the enemy is too busy looking up at the sky to set up intricate ambushes. We also have to talk about the political timing. President Tinubu needs a win. The economic situation is tough and the cost of living is squeezing Nigerians dry. Security has always been the one promise that, if kept, can buy a government a lot of goodwill. If this joint operation can decapitate the leadership of ISWAP in Sambisa just as we enter the new year, it would be a massive morale booster for the nation. It would signal that 2026 is not going to be business as usual for the enemies of the state. It frames the president as a man of action who is willing to bring in the big guns, literally, to solve a problem that has plagued us for 15 years. But it's a high-stakes gamble. If it fails, or if it gets messy, the incompetence label we discussed in our last video will stick even harder. As we count down to the new year, the eyes of the world are on Maiduguri and the vast dark expanse of Sambisa Forest. The surveillance planes are circling. The data is being crunched in Pentagon situation rooms and shared with defense headquarters in Abuja. The targets are being marked. The new year present is wrapped in steel and explosives, waiting for the final order. For the residents of Borno who have suffered for too long, this might be the most terrifying yet hopeful New Year's Eve in a decade. Will the bombs bring peace or will they bring more chaos? We are watching and we will update you the moment the first explosion rocks the forest.